All right, I'm going to mute my mic. Hello, everybody. Welcome. Welcome to the webinar tonight. If you hear me okay, go ahead and just say hello in the chat over to the right. We're going to give this about another 5 minutes or so before we begin. But for now, just go ahead and say hello. I want to make sure that everybody can hear me okay before we get started. Great. All right, everybody. We're going to start in just a few. Thanks. All right, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So happy to have all of you here with us tonight. My name is Kevin George, and I will be your instructor for this webinar class. Now, before we get started, I would just like to give you guys a little bit of insight as far as what's going to be happening with this webinar course. So we're going to go 8 sessions. We start tonight, obviously today, and we're going to go couple times a week here. And we're gonna go ahead and cover all of the sessions. And by the time we're done with these sessions, you are going to have enough knowledge to pass the state of Michigan's exam to become a real estate salesperson. I hope all of you guys are excited. The world of real estate is it's very, very it's exciting, to be honest with you. I've been a licensed real estate agent, broker for going on, what are we on here? Going on 14 years maybe? Yikes, I am getting old. But yeah, it's definitely a good industry. You learn a lot. It's very, very exciting. And I will definitely fill you in as we go on through the course. I'll let you know about some crazy things that have happened to me in my experience, and I think you guys will really get a kick out of it. So, we're going to keep this class fun. We're going to keep it, really upbeat. I promise you that if you guys pay attention, that you will definitely learn so much, and you will pass the exam the first try if you listen to what I tell you to do. I am telling you, I'm promising you, you will pass the exam the first time that you take it, which is, the only thing I live for is you guys. I live for you, and my true happiness comes from when my students tell me, hey, Kevin, I passed my exam the first time. So that's my goal, and I just want you guys to know that. Now, going to be following along. We're going to be using our books. Some of you got the webinar course, and a book is going to be mailed to your home or office. So you may not have the book to go off of right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to send you guys a PDF of the book right now. I'm just looking it up. Let me just pull this up real quick. It's going to take me about, I don't know, 15, 20 seconds or so. Just give me a second here. Let me pull this up for you. All right, here. And then I'll just drop it in the chat box in a second once it's ready. All right. All right. So, test prep. I think it's this here. Let me just load this up. Okay, so I think we're here. Okay, so everybody, look over to the right. You'll see something that just popped up in the chat box there, and it says, yes, I want this now. It says test prep. Go ahead and click that if you don't have a book yet. That's the latest and greatest PDF version of our book, and that is what you're going to be receiving too once you once you get the book, shall I say, then that is what you should be receiving. Sorry if you see some funny stuff happening over here with this here. So yeah, again, for those of you who don't have any books yet, I understand it is the first night, so we're going to be covering some stuff that's pretty general. But go ahead and click the orange link on the right, and let me know if that pulled up okay in the chat. Just let me know that you got your book okay and you're ready to rock. All right, let me just pull this up here. Great. All right, awesome. I see you guys, got the book, and we're ready to go. Okay. So what we're going to do now is we're just going to go ahead and get started. We're going to start with just the basic stuff, okay? Like just kind of what you're going to be doing moving forward here. So over here on the screen, it says upon graduation, complete and submit your real estate salesperson license application. We're in the beginning of the book here, guys. It's just an introduction, kind of letting you know what it is we're going to have to do when we move forward. Now, everybody needs to be prepared to pay 2 fees. Okay, one you're going to pay to the state of Michigan, which is here, michigan.gov/ICOLA. Sounds like a refreshing drink, but it's not. You have to pay money to the state of Michigan here at michigan.gov/ICOLA, and then that is basically you'll do this later on, guys. Once we finish our last session of this course, you're gonna all have to take an exam. I guess it's a good time to mention this right now. These webinar sessions, technically, guys, you could look at them as a bonus. The main thing you have to do is pass an exam that will be mailed to you. Some of you don't have the exams yet. That's okay. We're going to mail an exam to you. You should get it, very soon. That exam, you have to pass that exam. I think it's like a Scantron. You take a number 2 pencil, just like back in the day when we used to have those at school. You fill out the Scantron, you mail it into our office, and if you pass the exam, that means you get your 40 hours. So some students may not be able to make it to all of these webinar sessions, and that's okay, because every session is going to be recorded and it's going to be emailed to you. So that's okay, guys. If you have to run out for an hour and go somewhere and come back, we're not going to penalize you. We're not going to say, oh, well, you missed an hour, you have to make it up. No, that's okay. Go ahead. The time here tonight is more of a bonus just to get you guys to pass the exam. Now, of course, I don't want you to miss any time. Of course not. I want you to be here with me live. And by the way, guys, I believe Namir, who's my dad, he started the Michigan Institute of Real Estate. I think Namir is actually going to take a couple of these sessions too. So you'll be able to meet him, I believe, next week, next Monday. But either way, don't worry if you don't worry if you miss some of the time on the webinar. It's not recommended because I may say something that's on the exam and you have to know it, but it's not the end of the world. As long you're going to have the recordings, which is great. And then as long as you pass the exam, you're gonna be good. So anyway, let's pretend like you just finished your last session. Okay, you're gonna take that exam. You're gonna send it in to us. We're gonna notify you. Congratulations, you passed. Then once you learn that you passed the exam we send you, then you have to go to michigan.gov/ICOLA. You have to pay them a fee. I think it's like, I don't know, like $80 or something around that area. You got to pay them a fee. Then you're gonna wait a couple days. You're gonna get authorization to take the real exam at the state, which is at PSI exams. Depending on where you are right now in the state, if you're in Metro Detroit, you're probably gonna have to go to Southfield. If you're anywhere else in the state of Michigan, you probably got to go find a PSI testing center. So yeah, it's gonna be PSI exams. You have to pay them a fee as well. So again, 2 fees. One fee to michigan.gov/ICOLA, and then another fee to PSI. So 2 fees. We'll explain this more as we go through the course, and like maybe like the last session we have together. I'm sure some students are going to be asking, hey, how do I sign up for the exam? I'll explain it to you again. But for now, we are going to get into the introduction. Hope you guys, hope you're excited to learn about this stuff. But yeah, guys, why are we here tonight? Why are we doing this? Why are we getting into real estate? A few reasons. Number one is flexibility. A lot of you, maybe you have a part-time job and you want to do real estate on the side, make some extra cash. That's great. I do real estate on the side. I make a very good living just doing it on the side. Why don't I do full-time? My students ask me. Well, because I'm teaching and I love to teach. So that's my first passion, is to teach. But I do real estate on the side, and I will definitely fill you in on some stories. The other reason why we do real estate, money. We want to make money. And believe me when I tell you that you guys are definitely going to make some money by being in this industry. And you know, I will definitely help you as we move forward. I will definitely help you with that and teach you some really good ways where you can make a very, very comfortable living in this business. And then the last reason is to help people, of course. I hope you're doing this to help people. It shouldn't always be about money. So yeah, that's why we're in real estate. So are you guys ready or what? Are you ready to get started? Are you ready to dive into this stuff and learn all about real estate? I hope you guys are ready, because I'm ready. All right, just grab some notes here. Make sure we are rocking and rolling. Awesome, I see you guys are excited. Great. So excited to teach you guys. Awesome. All right, let's do this. So question one, everybody, in your books. Again, we are in the introduction right now in the books. We're going to go through these questions and then we'll take a short break. We do take some breaks, guys. You know, we take frequent breaks because I feel like it's not a good idea to just, you know, pummel your brains with information. In reality, guys, you know, you need a little bit of time to sort of let the stuff sink in. So we will take some breaks. But either way, question one, what is real estate and what does it mean to obtain a real estate license? All right, well, what is real estate? Real estate is land. Okay, everybody, you may look at this house and say, oh, well, the house is real estate. Technically, not really. It's actually the land. The land is real estate. Anything below the home is the subsurface is real estate, and anything above the home, the airspace, is real estate as well. It's all yours. So draw a line all the way from heaven, all the way down to the core of the earth. All of this, right, is real estate. It's all yours, baby. It's all yours. And any improvements on the land is also considered real estate as well. So your home is considered an improvement on the real estate. You know that TV show, Home Improvement? Okay, so that's how you remember it. The home is an improvement on the land. Even if you have a fence, a shed, a pool, anything that you put on the land is considered an improvement on the real estate. So that's real estate. You got the surface, the subsurface, the air rights. Sometimes when you sell real estate, you can reserve the subsurface, meaning like, you know, I'm a farmer and I'm going to sell off, you know, 10 acres and I reserve the subsurface. So a few years later, I come in and I say, hey, I want to drill for oil and gas. And they say, well, what do you mean? It's my land. And you say, actually, I reserved the subsurface when I sold it to you. So I have the right to dig under the land. It doesn't happen very often, but you know, we like to have fun in this class, right? Got to keep things fun. All right. Commercial. Yep. This is real estate. Farmland is real estate. Industrial is real estate. Residential is real estate. All of it. Guys, everything is real estate and everything is one license. So if you tell me, hey, Kevin, I want to practice commercial real estate. Do I need a commercial real estate license? No, you don't. No, you don't. One license means you can negotiate between a buyer and a seller and get paid for it. How do you guys like our graphics? Huh? How do you like these? These are some high-tech graphics we got going on over here. We don't mess around. But yeah, guys, listen, it's all the same thing. Residential, commercial, farmland, industrial. One license does it all. If you negotiate between a buyer and a seller and you get paid for it, you have to be licensed. If you negotiate between a buyer and a seller and you don't have a license, you better do it for free or else you're going to get in trouble. So we must be licensed in order to negotiate between a buyer and a seller and, more importantly, get paid for it. Who issues the license? Well, the department issues the license, Laura. The Department of Licensing and Regulatory Affairs. On the exam, they're just going to refer to it as the department. Right now, guys, I wouldn't worry too much about this. You know, I hope you're not trying to like frantically, you know, take notes and memorize every single thing I'm saying right now, guys. Right now, just relax. Just take this in, enjoy it, get your brains warmed up. I don't want you guys taking notes like crazy right now. Believe me, I will tell you what to know for the exam. I will tell you what to remember for the exam. Promise you I will. For now, look, real estate is land, anything on top of the land. You have air rights above you. You have subsurface rights under you. Residential, commercial, industrial, farmland, it's all the same license. You have to be licensed to make money. That's it. So far, so good, guys. That's all we're talking about right now. The department, they issue licenses. The department is huge. They are the ones who issue the license. There's even cosmetology licenses. There's appraisal licenses and mortgage licenses and builder's licenses. And there's so many different licenses out there. And the department is the one who's responsible for issuing those licenses. Do I work alone or does someone else supervise me? Well, most likely you're going to be an independent contractor, which means you can work your own hours. You know, if you want to be part-time, cool. You want to be full-time, cool. If you don't feel like working today, fine. You're not going to get paid. You're not going to make any money. But hey, if you don't feel like working, don't work. You're an independent contractor. But you still need a broker to supervise you. Well, what's a broker? The broker is basically your boss. Okay? I want you to think of B as boss, broker, boss. They are your boss. What if I want to be a broker, Kevin? Well, you can, but you have to wait. You need at least 3 years experience in real estate, 6 transactions per year. You got to do a 90-hour class as opposed to a 40-hour class in real estate, for example. So yeah, we'll talk about that later, about what it takes to become a broker. But as you can see by this wonderful image, this is a lot what it's like in real life. People are smiling in business suits and having a great time. Yeah, it's a real life image here, guys. So you're an independent contractor. You work your own hours, but you still need a broker to supervise you. Let's talk more about that. Question 4. Is there a difference between a salesperson and a broker, and are there any other levels of licensing available in the real estate industry? Yeah, there is a difference between a broker and a salesperson. I said the broker is your boss. You are the salesperson. Think of that as starting out, the essence salesperson. I'm just starting out. Are there any other levels of licensing available in the real estate industry? Yes, there are. There is becoming a mortgage originator, you need 20 hours. To become an appraiser, you need 75 hours. To become a broker, you need 90 hours. To become a builder, you need 60 hours. How about a home inspector? Nothing, no hours. If you want to become a home inspector, like you're the guy or girl who goes into a home and has a list of stuff that's wrong with the house, state of Michigan right now says you don't need any hours. You don't even need a state exam. I'm a home inspector. Do you know what I did to be a home inspector? I literally sat down in class for 3 days. And at the end of 3 days, I was certified as a certified home inspector. I left with a plaque and everything. So if you have a friend or something that's looking to do something in real estate and maybe they're not really good with exams and stuff, tell them, hey, go be a home inspector. You don't even need an exam right now. You just go attend and that's it. You're good to go. Yeah, pretty crazy. So we like to use this metaphor for a broker. We like to say that the broker is like the engine of a train, the head of the train, because it doesn't need the carts to run. Look at these carts that are attached to the engine. Your broker is the engine, and you are simply attached. The broker doesn't need you. The broker does not need you to work. Believe me, there are people out there, there are brokers that work by themselves. But why would a broker want you to work with them? Why? Well, let's see. Next question. How do I work and get paid? I mean, that's an important question. We all need to know, how do we make money, right? Well, in this class, I'm going to be talking about Sam a lot. Seller Sam, okay? Whenever I say Sam, I want you to think this is a guy that wants to sell his house. Sam. And here we have broker Larry. So Larry is a broker, a boss, yeah? And he works by himself. He doesn't have any agents. It's just him in a small office. He has a receptionist. Her name is Jane. So it's Larry, it's his receptionist, Jane, and that's it. You know, he pays some overhead, pays for internet, pays rent. Otherwise, it's just Larry. So ring, ring, Sunshine Realty. This is Jane. How can I help you? Hi, Jane. My name is Sam. I'm looking to sell my house. Can you have somebody come out and look at my house, please? Sure, no problem. I'll get in touch with Larry, and he can be at your house by 6 o'clock tonight. What do you think? Sure, sounds good. So here comes 6 o'clock. Opens the door. Hi, I'm Larry with Sunshine Realty. How can I help you? Oh, yes. Well, thanks for coming. I'd like to list my house. Come take a look. So Larry walks in the door, and they're looking at Sam's house. And Larry says, okay, so you want to list the house? And Sam says, yes, I do. Well, Sam says, well, how much is my house worth? As real estate agents, we are able to conduct a market analysis. Real estate agents, we do it for free. Brokers could charge for market analysis, but that's later. You, the real estate agent, will conduct a market analysis, and we will learn how to do a market analysis in a little bit. Now, how do you do a market analysis? Well, let's say that, I don't know, how am I gonna, okay, let's say you wanted to price out a coffee mug. And I asked you, I said, how much is this coffee mug? And you said, I don't know. And I took you to Target and I showed you a coffee mug for $4. And then I showed you another coffee mug for $6 that looks similar. And I asked you, so how much do you think this coffee mug is? You'd say, I don't know, about $5, right? Between 4 and 6, you'd guess. Well, in real estate, we kind of do the same thing, okay? Kind of. I mean, there's a lot more that goes into it that we'll cover later, but basically what you do is Sam says, how much is my house worth? So you look at houses, you know, in a close proximity to Sam, like on his street, for instance, or in his general neighborhood, and you see one house down the street that sold for $395. And you see another one down the street that sold for $410. And you see another one that sold for $403. So you got $395, you got $410, you got $403. You're going to tell Sam, hey, Sam, I think your house is worth about $400. And he's going to say, cool, sounds good. Again, we'll learn how to do a market analysis more in detail later on. But for now, you get the general idea here. So Sam says, that's fine, $400,000. In order to get this house listed on the MLS, you're going to need a listing agreement. That's where it all starts, the listing agreement. Listing agreement, everybody. Without this, without the listing, you have nothing. If you want to be rich, if you want to be successful in real estate, I will tell you, get as many listings as you possibly can. It's all about the listings. So whenever that you put Sam under contract and you put his house on the multiple listing service, the MLS, which is like a shopping mall of houses, I'll show it to you later. You are getting a listing. That's what you're doing. So in order to get a listing, you have to have a listing agreement. That's how it works. Now, you are going to ask Sam. You're going to say, hey, Sam, if I sell your house, will you give me a commission? Just like you go to the restaurant, guys. You go to the restaurant, you have dinner with your spouse, and at the end, somebody brings you a bill, and you know, what are you going to do? You're going to give the waiter or waitress 20%. You're going to give them a tip. So you, the real estate agent, are asking for a tip. But you put this in the listing agreement. It's a contract, everybody. This, in the listing agreement, this is where you have the nitty gritty. How long are we going to list it for? What are my responsibilities? You know, this is the type of arrangement we have, and this is how much I'm going to get paid, right? So in real estate, we usually use 6% as the standard commission that your brokerage will charge. It could be 7%, 8%. It could be 25% commission. Whatever it is, you negotiate, but the market is usually at 6%. That's where we're at. So, hey, Sam, if I sell your house, will you give me a tip, a 6% tip if I sell your house? Sam says, yes, no problem. So you go take some photos of Sam's house. You go back to your office. You upload the pictures to the MLS. You have a listing agreement signed. You have some other disclosures signed that we'll discuss later. And you put it on the MLS, all right? So So Larry got the listing. Now, in real estate, there are two sides to every listing. There's the side that lists it, right? There's a side that gets the listing, meaning they are the reason why the house is even out in the market is because of you. You got the listing. And then the other side of real estate is who sold it, the selling side. Sometimes you do both. Okay, I'll explain this right now. So let's say that Larry got the listing, went back to his office, put it up on the MLS, and the next day he's at a wedding and he's dancing, he's doing the Macarena, whatnot, what have you, and he bumps into somebody and they say, oh, sorry, I bumped into you. Oh, wait a minute, aren't you Larry, that real estate agent that I see on Facebook? I see your ads all over the place. Oh yeah, that's me, how you doing? Oh, great. Hey, listen, my wife and I are looking for a house, about $400,000. Do you have anything available? And Larry's like, actually, yes, I just listed a home yesterday. How about I go show it to you? So Larry got the listing and Larry bumped into potential buyers. So he's showing the house to the buyers and they say, you know what? We'll take it. And Larry's like, yes, because he got a double dip. In real estate, we call that a double dip. When you list a house and you find the buyers, you do both sides, guess what happens to that 6%? It all goes to you. And this is Larry. Larry's a happy guy. Check him out. Go ahead, look at him. That's really him. So Larry's really happy because Larry got a double dip. In real estate, it's going to happen to you. It's not going to happen every time. Don't get too excited now because double dips are a little tougher to come by than what else we'll talk about in just a second. But in this situation, in this story, Larry got all 6% to himself because he listed it and he sold it. He did both things. So Larry, with this $24,000 commission, he pays Jane as receptionist. He pays some overhead. Other than that 24 grand, I mean, what's he going to be left with? 22 grand maybe? Oh, boo-hoo. Yeah, he's happy. He's very happy. So Larry decides, you know what? This is awesome. I just made a $22,000 commission. 24 really, but I'm talking about if he has bills to pay, guys. So 24 really. Okay, I made a $24,000 commission. I am really excited. I'm going to go up north for the weekend. Jane, I'm going up north. Take my messages while I'm gone. See you later. So Larry takes off, and Larry's going up north. After he leaves the office, about an hour or two later, his office gets a call. Ring, ring. Sunshine Realty, this is Jane. How can I help you? Hi, Jane. This is Molly, Larry's old friend. Is he in? Oh, no, I'm sorry, Molly. No, Larry went on vacation. He just had a closing this morning. Can I help you with something? Oh, I'm trying to get my $10 million shopping center listed, and I told Larry I would give him the listing. Just have him give me a call, please. So Jane frantically starts calling Larry. Larry's not answering, okay? Larry's listening to music, driving up north. He's not paying attention. Next day goes by. Molly calls again. Hey, did Larry get my messages? Molly, I'm so sorry. Larry's not answering his phone. He's up north. I don't know if he's getting reception up there. Let me do my best. I'm still trying to get a hold of him. So Friday goes by. Saturday goes by. Sunday goes by. Monday's a holiday. Tuesday he comes into work at 12 o'clock. He's tan, right? Hey, Jane, how you doing? Larry, please tell me you got my messages. What are you talking about? I was up north. Larry, Molly called, your old friend from high school. She said she had a $10 million shopping center that she wanted to list with you. Did you call her? Oh my God, no, I didn't get any messages. The reception was terrible up there. Okay, let me call her. Ring, ring. Molly, hey, it's Larry. I'm so sorry I was up north for the weekend. How can I help you? Oh, Larry, hey, how you doing? How's the wife? Yeah, listen, I knew real estate was good, but I didn't know it was that good to where you're going to be so busy that you don't even have a second to call me back. I mean, listen, Larry, no hard feelings or anything, but I went ahead and listed the house with somebody, listed the shopping center with somebody else down the street. Sorry. So Larry starts thinking, after he gets done crying. And he says, how can I be in more than one place at the same time so this never happens to me again? Well, you're the answer. And this is why brokers love you. This is why. So that way, if Larry's up north, well, Jeff, Sally, or Kim would have answered that phone and they would have gotten the listing. This is why a lot of times, you'll have brokers contacting you, calling you, and they'll tell you about their business, their brokerage, and they'll try to recruit you. They'll try to get you to work for them because this is very beneficial to everybody. It's beneficial to the broker so that doesn't happen to him or her again. It's beneficial for you because you're making commissions. It's all good. But brokers love you. Brokers would love to have you. Now, let's talk about the same story. We're going to rewind a little bit here, and we're going to look at this from a different point of view now. So this time, let's say that Kim was at the office this day and a phone call came in. Ring, ring. Sunshine Realty, this is Kim. How can I help you? Oh, hi, Kim. My name is Sam, and I would like to list my house. Will you please come out and look at it? Sure, no problem. So Kim drives out to Sam's house this time. Kim meets Sam and his wife. Kim takes pictures of the place. Kim got the listing this time. She got the listing agreement, 6%, right? Now, let's look at what happens if Kim was at the wedding and Kim ran into the buyers and the buyer said, oh, we're looking for a house, 400,000. And she said, well, I just listed one yesterday. And Kim does all this work. So she got the double dip. Well, let's look at something here in this situation. If Kim double dipped it, and let's assume that they're on a 50-50 split, right? If they're on a 50-50 split, like you and your broker are going to have to be on some type of split, 50-50, 60-40, 70-30. Some brokers will give you 100% sometimes, but you have to have some type of goal to reach. It just depends. Every broker is different. Let's assume 50-50 for the sake of keeping things simple. So you sold Sam's house, you double dipped it, 6%, $24,000, guys. That means $12,000 to Kim, $12,000 to Larry. Keep in mind, Kim got the listing and she found the buyers. She did both. Larry gets $12,000, yeah, because Larry is her broker and Larry was mentoring Kim and helping Kim out and making sure that she wasn't making any mistakes or anything like that. Okay? So that is how it works if you double dip it with a broker above you. If it was 70-30, if it was 60-40, well, then you would have had a different amount of money. But hey, 50-50, we're keeping it simple. $12,000 plus $12,000 is $24,000. Kim listed it and she sold it. Kim listed it, meaning she's the one who signed up the seller originally. Sold it, meaning she found people that wanted to buy it. Listed it and sold it. Now, what happens if Kim listed it, but Jeff sold it? So Kim is the one who got the listing, and Jeff was the one at the wedding, right? Jeff was the one doing the Macarena, and Jeff bumped into the buyers. Well, then this is how it works. Out of the 24,000, 12 is going to go to Larry, 6 goes over here, and 6 goes over there. Let's add it up. 12,000 plus 6,000 plus 6,000 is $24,000. Look at that. That's how the 24,000 is split up. Okay. All right, let's see here. So there it is. Okay. Now, what about Larry? What happens if Kim got the listing, but Larry was the one at the wedding doing the Macarena? Huh? Could Larry sell it? Of course Larry can sell it. And guess what? That 6,000 will go to Larry. So 18,000 will go to the broker here, and Kim got 6. But hey, either way you split it up, guys, it's money. Whether it's 12 or 24 or 6, there is money in this game, guys. There is money in real estate, which is one of the reasons that you are here tonight. You're putting in the work. Good for you. All right. Now, so far, we've been talking about we've been talking about what happens when people double dip a lot. Like, you know, this double dip theory is great and all, but let's talk about something a little bit more everyday, shall we? This is what's really going to happen most of the time. So Kim, ring, ring, Sunshine Realty. This is Kim. How can I help you? Kim drives to Sam's, gets the listing agreement, and then another brokerage. So this one's Sunshine Realty on the left here. Sunshine Realty. Let's say Green Valley Realty calls up. And Max, the salesperson, says, hey, I have a buyer. His name is Bob. And Bob wants to buy the house. Now, how in the heck did Bob find this house originally? Well, Kim put it on the MLS, the multiple listing service. So agents all over, you know, the state, you know, saw this house for sale. Now, Sam agreed to give 6%. So what happens with Kim? What does she do here in this situation? Well, Kim, when Kim goes on the MLS, everybody, she's going to take that 6% and she's going to split it. She's going to say, you know how in kindergarten, how we have to share our toys, guys? Okay, in real estate, we have to share our commissions. You can't take all 6% to yourself unless, of course, you double dip it. But let's say you're not double dipping. You can't expect Max over here to find you a buyer and him not to get anything. You have to split your 6% a little bit. Most of the time, we go 3%, 3%. But you could technically keep 4 and give him 2. Or the other way around. You could keep 2 and give him 4 if you're desperate to sell a house, of course. But most of the time, it's 3%, 3%. That's usually how it works. I've seen times where agents will keep 5% and give 1% to the other agent. I mean, it's crazy, but most of the time, it's 3%, 3%. So in real estate, when we have brokers, there are 2 splits that happen. 2 splits. First, brokers get paid. Then you and the broker get paid. Let me repeat that. In real estate, there are 2 things that happen. First, the brokers get paid. 3%, 3%. Where did this 3% come from? Because look, Sam, the seller, agreed to give 6% to whoever sold the house. So Kim listed it, and then she put on the MLS, hey, I'll give 3%, half of my commission to anybody who could sell this for me. Believe me, Kim was trying to find the buyer. She was trying to find her own buyer so she could do a double dip, but it didn't happen. Max got to it first. Max found Bob first, so too bad. So 3%, 3%. So first the brokers get paid, then you and the broker get paid. So I assume 50-50 split. If you're 50-50, then 6-6. But let's say that over here on the right side here, Peggy, the broker with Green Valley, and Max had a 60-40 split. Okay, well then that means 4,800 over here and 7,200 over here. That's how it works. One other thing to keep in mind. Only your broker can pay you. I didn't say only a broker, your broker, meaning Larry over here on the left, Larry the broker can't pay Max, and Peggy cannot pay Kim. You cannot do that. Only your broker can pay you anything. Another thing to keep in mind, these listings are technically not your listings. Even though Kim answered the phone, Kim drove out to Sam's house, Kim got the listing, Kim took the pictures, technically that listing belongs to the broker, Sunshine Realty. That is the broker's listing. So if Kim leaves one day and says, I'm leaving, I'm getting out of here, I don't want to work for you anymore, those listings are most likely going to stay behind. They're going to stay behind with Sunshine Realty. You do not get to take your listings with you. But generally speaking, everybody, look, let's look back up here to the top left. Top left. Here's the house. It's sold. Sam said, I'll sell it for $400 and I'll give you a 6% tip. Well, Kim couldn't double dip this one. So she listed it and went on the MLS and said, I will split my 6% with any other brokerage that can help me. So here comes Max. He works for Green Valley Realty. He found the buyer. So his broker gets 3%, and then he and the broker split. Same thing over here. We get 3%, so it goes to the broker first, Larry, and then it's split between Larry and Kim. So here's a general idea of how it works. Now, because on the left side here, we are the ones that got the listing, Larry would be considered the listing broker. Because on the right side, Peggy is the one who sold it, or her brokerage sold it. She's the selling broker. Sometimes you hear buyer's broker in real estate. You're going to hear buyer's broker. Yeah, okay, that's fine. Technically, it's the selling broker, but if you hear, are you the buyer's broker? Well, yeah, basically, yeah, sure. You know, the buyer's on our side, so we're the buyer's broker. Yeah, that's okay. And over here, Kim, because Kim listed it and she's a salesperson, she's called the listing salesperson. And because Max sold it, he's the selling salesperson. So that's just some terminology for you. All right, great. Okay, what if the house doesn't sell? Well, then your broker is broke. Oh, look how funny that is. Broke. Yeah. So if the house doesn't sell, it's going to expire. We don't want our listings to expire. So what we do is we co-broke, which is what we just did back here. You know, because if let's say Kim was selfish and she didn't want to put it on the MLS. She said, I'm going to double dip everything. Money, money, money. Ha ha ha. Look, you can't be money hungry in this game, okay? Or else you're going to go broke. If you're not going to share your toys, if you're not going to share your 6% with anybody, then you're going to go broke. You're not going to make any money. So that's why we co-broke. That's why we work with other agents, guys. That's why we do it. What is the reason for establishing licensing rules? What law regulates the real estate industry in Michigan? The whole reason that we do this, guys, is for consumer protection. The more knowledgeable you are, the better off you are, the better off your clients are. You can educate your clients. I mean, this is why we get licensed. Consumer protection. How long is the license good for? So here's how it works. We work in 3-year cycles. 2016 is done, so you don't need to worry about that, but you have to do 6 hours of continuing education per year. State of Michigan wants you to do 2 things after this class is done. Number 1, they want you to get trained. And number 2, they want you to do your continuing education. Both are very, very important. Both are mandatory. So you don't have to worry about 2016, right? Because we're done with that. You're going to get licensed in 17. So you have to do 6 hours of continuing education by December 31st of this year. So we will remind you, we'll send you emails letting you know, but if you want to make a short note somewhere, December 31st, 2017 is the deadline. You have to have 6 hours of continuing education. You do continuing education with us. You can come to class, you could do it online, you could do it as a take-home exam. We don't have any webinar options for Con Ed yet, but maybe we will in the future, who knows. So yeah, you do your continuing education with us. And it's a great class, guys. I mean, 6-hour Con Ed basically is what is the latest and greatest thing going on in real estate? What's the latest rule that you should know about? What's the latest law that you should know about? Very important that you do continuing education. If you don't do Con Ed, guys, you're lapsed in the state of Michigan's eyes. When you're lapsed, that's not good. You have to pay late fees. It's ugly. Just do your Con Ed every year. But then it's kind of weird because next year, 2018, you have to do it by 10/31, October 31st. So here's how it works. December 31st, December 31st, October 31st, December 31st, December 31st, October 31st. I don't know. That's just the way it is. Okay. So next year, you need to do it by October 31st. You only need 12 hours of Con Ed because you're doing it in this year here. So you need 12 hours by the renewal period. And then after this period, 10/31/18, you have to do 18 hours within the cycle. Okay, so 6 hours, 6 hours, 6 hours. That's 6, 12, 18 hours within your cycle. Just to keep this whole thing simple so you're not confused, just do 6 hours of Con Ed every year and you should be good to go. Okay, that's how it works. So yeah, this is normally where I would take a break. So I think what we can do here, guys, let's just take a very short break. Very short. Let's do like a 5-minute break. If you need to run and use the restroom or something, let's do 5 minutes, and then we'll get back to it. Okay, so 5-minute break. All right. Cool. All right, everybody. So the introduction is done with. So oh, actually, guys, just give me another second or two. All right. Hold on. Got to grab something. Okay, I'm back. So now I know you guys have the books there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to follow along with the book that I put in the chat. Remember, it is on the right. It says, yes, I want this now in orange. You could just click that, and that'll take you to the book. So going based off of this book right now, let's see what we have coming up here. Page 4. Page 4, you're going to see this table here, and let me explain it to you. Let me explain what's going on. On the exam that you're going to take, State of Michigan's exam, you're going to have 120 questions. I know it says 115 here, but it really is 120 because 5 don't count. They put 5 dummy questions on the exam. They don't hurt your time. They don't hurt your score. They don't worry about it. But you don't know which ones are the dummy questions, of course, or else we would just like guess and just move on. But we don't know. So they only count 115. Out of the 115, you need 80 correct, which is a 70%. So you need 80, right? If you divide this, you're going to get 70%. So everybody has to have a 70%. You get 3 hours to take the exam. 3 hours. If you need more time, like if you have a learning disability or something, you could just request more time, and they'll be happy to to extend that. But my students only need 2 hours. If you pay attention, if you listen to me, you will only need a couple hours to do this. So you have 3 hours. The whole exam is multiple choice. The whole exam is multiple choice. The whole exam is multiple choice. There's no photos. There's no pictures. Sorry, guys. No pictures. No charts. None of that stuff. Just writing and multiple choice. No true and false. No essay. It's not one of those exams where if you pass, they stop the whole exam and say, congratulations, you passed. No, you actually have to finish the whole exam. You can mark questions if you want and come back to them later, which a lot of students have recommended doing that. Sometimes if you're stuck on a question, they'll tell you mark it, keep going, because another question might trigger something in your brain to help you answer the previous question that you marked for review. So yes, you can mark questions for review. You're going to take the exam at a PSI testing center. Like I said, they have them all over the state. You can take the exam almost every day, Monday through Saturday. You can take it at either like 9-ish and 2-ish. I forget the exact times. I think they have like 9:15 and 2:30 or something like that. You just have to check. You're going to take the exam. If you have a broker, when you register for your exam, I recommend you have a broker lined up already because it just makes things easier. You'll get your license right away. But either way, you have a year to secure a broker. So you have 1 year to find a broker after you take the exam, which I hope should be plenty of time to find what broker you want to work with. You can't really bring any personal belongings into the PSI testing center. Like leave your cell phone in the car, leave anything you have in your car. Just go walk inside, just you, photo ID, and a calculator maybe. Okay, if you need a calculator, I could definitely just go get a cheap calculator, like a $5. We have $5 calculators here at the school. I can put a link in the thing later if you guys want to buy one from us, but it's not worth it because then that's like $3 shipping. $8 for a calculator is a lot. So just go to the dollar store, pick a cheap calculator, something with a percentage key on it, right? It has to have the percentage key on it. And I would prefer if you guys don't use your iPhones and Androids this class, try to use a cheap calculator. right? You can bring that calculator with you to the PSI testing center. If you don't have a calculator, they'll give you one. I think they have a few there that they'll give you one. You know, women, make sure you look all pretty. Men, comb your hair because they're going to take a picture of you. They're going to put it on this piece of paper when you're leaving. It'll have your picture on it, like I failed with a smiley face or I passed with a smiley face. But you're taking our class with the Michigan Institute, so you'll pass the first try. That's about it for the exam. I can't really think of anything else, but if you fail the exam, you can take it pretty much immediately. I mean, you could just pay them another fee. I told you get ready to pay 2 fees. So one to the state, one to PSI. Just pay PSI again, and you can take the exam almost immediately. I think literally like the next day if you really wanted to. Okay. So now it's time to actually get into the real deal stuff. Let's get into the meat of the book, shall we say. We are looking at property ownership, page 4 and 5. If you notice, you'll see these outlines a lot in our book. And these outlines, this is literally what they're going to test you on, exactly what they're going to test you on. PSI actually released an outline and said to all the educators, we are going to test the students on the following. So what did we do? We wrote our book exactly to the outline. So you don't need to worry, guys. You know, did we cover this or did we cover that? You're darn right we covered it. I mean, we literally took the outline and created a book out of it. So don't worry. Don't you worry. We are going to cover everything that's going to be on the exam, starting with real versus personal property, everybody. Let's get into it, everybody. Page 5. We are officially starting the class. Real versus personal property. See, in real estate, anything that's movable is considered chattel. Chattel. Yeah, some people say chattel. Okay, whatever. You know, that's fancy schmancy stuff if you ask me. Just call it chattel. That's what we call it. Agents call it chattel. Now, chattel is anything movable in real estate. You know, anything that's personal belongings. For example, a lamp. A lamp is movable, is it not? You could pick up a lamp and you could put it to the, you could take it to the other side of the room and plug it in somewhere else. That is chattel. It's personal property and it's movable. Right. Good. Or like a portable bookshelf, for instance. You could pick up a bookshelf. Yeah, it's kind of heavy, I know. But, you know, maybe take the books off first. And you pick up the bookshelf and you take it to the other side of the room. You'll say, this is chattel because it's movable. So let's say that you're looking at your dining room. And you're like, honey, I think this dining room could really use a chandelier. I'm going to go down to Lowe's or Home Depot, whatever, and I'm going to go find a chandelier and I'm going to bring it back home. Okay, sweetheart? And she says, okay, sweetheart. And you say, I love you. And she says, I love you too. And you, okay, all that good stuff. So you go down to Lowe's. You go to the chandelier aisle. You find a chandelier you like. You take it to the checkout. You pay for it. Once you get a receipt, whose is it? It's yours. You could say, this is my chattel. This is my personal property. The chandelier comes in a box. So you can move the box around. It's yours. You put it in your car. It's chattel. You're driving down the road back to your house. It's still chattel. You take it out of your car. You're walking up to your front door. It's chattel. You put it in your dining room. You put it in your dining room. You put the box down on the floor. It's chattel. You open the box. You take the chandelier out of the box. You take those annoying styrofoam things out, right? Throw them all over the place and messes up everything. It's still chattel, right? So here you go. You're raising it up to the ceiling, chattel, chattel, chattel. And as soon as you install that thing, as soon as you wire it, nail it, glue it, cement it, bolt it, whatever you do to get it attached to the ceiling, it becomes... well, we already talked about this. It becomes a fixture right there. Okay, there's your chandelier. It used to be chattel. It used to be chattel, but as soon as you bolted it, wired it, nailed it, glued it, cemented it into the ceiling, it becomes a fixture. And it's automatically included when the real estate is sold. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. Don't worry, I'll cover it, I promise. But this is technically said to be automatically included when the real estate is sold. So you should know the difference between chattel and fixture in real estate. They're going to mention it on the exam. They're going to have stories for you. A seller had a fixture, and then she did this and this and this. So you need to understand what they mean when you're going through this thing. So a lamp, chattel or fixture? What do you think? I would say chattel, because it's movable. You see, this mailbox here used to be chattel, and then you installed it, boom, became a fixture. Chattel is movable, fixture is installed. What about this thing? Yeah, this AC unit. Yeah, this is portable. Look, it's about to fall. It's about to fall out of the window here. You would consider this chattel. Versus this. This is in the ground. It's attached. This would be fixture. This, it's a built-in AC unit. Built-in, that's a keyword for fixture. This fan, yeah, I would say it's chattel, it's movable. This is a fixture because look at this, it's attached to the real estate, fixture. Portable bookshelf, movable. I could pick this thing up right now. So that means it's chattel. Versus this bookshelf back here in the wall, look at it, it's built in. This one right here, if it's built in, it's a fixture. So when I sell my house, I wish this was my house. If I were to sell this house, I would include this. I would include this bookshelf. I'm not gonna like break it down and try to take it to my new house. I'll just say, you know what, this is the house. It is what it is. These couches, however, I'm gonna take my couches because this is chattel. Look at movable. Even this candle here, I'm gonna take everything. It's all mine. I gotta hang this up here. Okay. This portable dishwasher. Yes, it's a portable dishwasher. I know, it's crazy. But yeah, this is chattel. It's movable. This right here is a fixture. It's built-in dishwasher. This safe. I mean, it's probably heavy, but I could pick this puppy up if I wanted. Is this a safe or a microwave? What the heck is this thing? I don't even know what this thing is, right? But whatever it is, it's chattel because it's movable. This here is built-in fixture. This safe, this is because the safe is built in, this would be fixture. The gun, what's the gun? Dangerous. That's what it is. It's dangerous. Okay? It's a dangerous piece of chattel because it's movable. Okay, cool. Great. So we're moving on in the book here. We talk about trade fixtures. You'll find trade fixtures. We're on page 5 here, trade fixtures. Now look, well, before we talk about trade fixtures, let's talk about severance here. This word severance. Now, severance, it may not be in your version of the book because it's, yeah, I'm not seeing it in the book, but I'll just explain it real quick. Oh, there it is. It's severance is under trade fixtures. It's in caps. We should probably bold that there. It's okay, whatever. Look, severance is the act of detaching a fixture from real estate and turning it back into chattel. So let's say you had that chandelier hung up and you're about to sell the house. You tell your spouse, you know what? I think we should remove this chandelier, put it in a box somewhere safe, and hide it because I don't want any buyers coming into this house and taking the chandelier. It's our chandelier. So severance is detaching a fixture and turning it back into chattel. I mean, you probably want to put some kind of chandelier up there. I mean, you could put an ugly one if you want. That's fine. You know, go find a used one for like $50 and go hang that one up because, you know, the chandelier we bought was $500, a beautiful chandelier. So, yeah, severance. That's detaching a fixture, turning it back into chattel. Trade fixtures. Let's go back to this. The word trade means business. Okay, trade. We're using it in business. A trade fixture shouldn't be confused with fixtures. What do I mean? Well, what if I had a convenience store and I had a cash register bolted into my countertop? Why would I bolt in a cash register so nobody steals it? Okay, so I have this bolted in, and I'm going to go sell you my convenience store. Well, I'm going to take my cash register. Well, wait a minute. You can't take the cash register because it's bolted in, and anything bolted in is a fixture. I'll tell you, no, no, no. This is called a trade fixture. It's bolted in so nobody steals it. It's really mine. It's personal property. It's chattel. I'm taking it. Or if I'm selling let's just call this some type of antique store or something. Let's say I had some jewelry. It kind of looks like a pawn shop if you ask me. Yeah, so you're going to sell your pawn shop. And you have these jewelry cases bolted into the ground. When you sell your pawn shop, you can take these with you because this is chattel. Even though it's built in, you're using it in business. Therefore, it's a trade fixture. All right. How do I know if something is a fixture or something is chattel? Well, we'll talk about it here. A, items attached by cement, nails, removal. Look, if you have to break something, it was probably a fixture, okay? If it was glued, nailed, wired, cemented, and you had to break it, it was a fixture. So that's how you know. And let's talk about something else here. Let's say that you bought a house and you are driving up to your house one night and you're like, where the heck is that garage opener? You know, we just bought this house. So you call the agent, you say, hey, can you ask the seller what she did with the garage opener, please? And she's like, yeah, sure, I'll ask the seller. So she calls you back 15 minutes later. The agent's like, I talked to the seller and she took the garage opener. Why? Oh, you see, I don't know if you've ever taken a real estate class, but you see the garage opener, it's actually something called chattel. It's movable and it's personal property, so she took it. Okay, yeah, no, I don't think so. Just because that garage opener is movable doesn't mean that somebody can take it because it belongs to a fixture. It belongs to a garage. You have no right to remove it. You might as well take the key to the front door. Yeah, the key is movable. That doesn't mean you should take it. No, it belongs to the real estate. So you have to leave it alone. That's what this B part means, relation. Okay. Yeah, don't take the storm doors either. Yeah, leave those. Yeah, it belongs to the door. Plantings. Well, how do we look at plantings when it comes to real estate? Well, if it's a planting that requires annual cultivation, so let's say that you are growing cucumbers, or let's say you have a corn farm. If you have a corn farm and you're going to sell your corn farm, go ahead and take your corn. Take it. It's yours. That's chattel. So annual, anything you have to plant annually is yours. It's your personal property. But if it's a perennial, right? Let's say you have a rose bush or something like that. Leave the rose bush. It's perennials. It's supposed to continue to grow year after year after year. You're not supposed to take that thing. So, or let's say you're selling a tree farm. Okay. If you're selling a tree farm, then leave the trees. Don't go out there with your buddy with a chainsaw and start ripping down trees or something like that. Oh, it's mine. It's my real estate. No, it's not actually. It's perennials. You're supposed to leave it alone. So annual versus perennial. In real estate, that's how it works. If you have to grow it yourself, it's annual. If it grows by itself, it's perennial. Agreement between the parties. Guys, this is big on the exam. I want you guys to really understand this concept for the exam. They're going to ask you a lot of questions regarding this. They're going to give you some stories on the exam. Like sometimes you'll come across a question on the exam where on the right, they'll have like a huge story, like they'll have like 2 or 3 paragraphs, and then they'll ask you one simple question. Just so you know, when you encounter one of those questions, guys, I don't want you to read that 2 or 3 paragraph story like word for word. You're going to drive yourself crazy. I would start with the question first. Look at the question. What are they asking you? You'll probably already have a good idea about what the answer is without even reading the story. But yeah, look at the question first, then scan the story and try to find that 2 or 3 sentence part where they're talking about the question. But they like to ask questions on the exam regarding the agreement between the parties. For example, I'm going to give you guys some examples that you're going to see on the exam. The first thing you may see on the exam, you may see a question that says something like, the buyer moved into the home and noticed that 2 speakers that were attached to the ceiling have now been removed, and now there's 2 ugly holes that are exposing the attic. What happens? Well, you're going to look at the story, and you're going to notice in the story that the seller didn't say anything about her taking the speakers. Nowhere in the story does it say that. So the answer is the seller had no right to remove the speakers, and she should replace the speakers and fix any damage. That's the answer. Or how about this question? The seller has a perennial rose bush. So right away, your brain thinks, oh, perennial, it's a fixture. You can't take it. Well, hold on a second. Hold on. The seller has a perennial rose bush. She puts in the agreement that she is going to take the roses with her, and she's going to leave the rose bed leveled for future plantings. And the buyer agreed. The buyer agreed. So the buyer moves into the property and notices all the roses are missing, and the buyer's upset. What happens? Well, I looked at the story, and in the story, it's clearly said the seller is going to take the roses, and the buyer said, okay. So if the buyer said, okay, why are you mad? Why are you mad? We had an agreement between the parties that I was going to take my roses. So the answer to that question is something along the lines of, the seller put in the purchase agreement that she was going to take the roses. The buyer agreed and has no right to be mad. Something along those lines. Yeah, that would be the answer there. So be sure you guys really understand this agreement between the parties thing. All right. Intention of the parties. I had a really expensive painting. I hung it up on my wall. Actually, I bolted it. I bolted my expensive painting into the wall. Oh my God, Kevin, why would you do that? You're stupid. Now that's a fixture. Well, no, it's not actually, because it's my intention that nobody comes to my house and steals my expensive painting, so I bolted it. Or let's say I had a swing set, and one of my kids was swinging on the swing set, and the whole thing was about to topple over. So I ran outside. I said, son, get off. And I went and I cemented the swing set into the ground. When I go sell the house, the buyer's like, well, that's fixture, so I'm taking the swing set. I could say, no, it's actually my personal property. My intention was that my son wouldn't hurt himself. Okay, so even here, look at the example. Trade fixtures such as shelving, equipment, even though it's attached to real estate, it's a trade fixture. It's my intention that no one will steal my cash register. It's my intention that no one will steal my jewelry cases in the pawn shop. So intention of the parties just means it may be attached, but it's not a fixture because of, those reasons you're using it in business, or you don't want somebody to steal something from you. All right. How we doing so far, everybody? How we feeling? Just getting a sip of water. It's hard to talk like this, Everybody good? Everybody following along so far? All right, cool. All right. Looks good, guys. Here we go. Good. I see you guys are following along okay. That's good. Now, the next thing we're going to be doing is we're going to be talking about real estate, physical characteristics of real estate. This is very, very straightforward here, guys. Nothing crazy, but we're going to be on page 6. All right. So real estate is durable. Remember when I told you that real estate is land? Yeah. Well, the land under your house has been there for billions of years. All right. So the land is durable. Now, the building, the structure on top of that land may not be as durable. Like, your house is going to fall apart after 100 years, of course, but the land isn't. The land is very, very durable. So that's all that means there. E-mobility. Real estate is not movable. You have a loft in Birmingham, right? And then you want to move to Livonia. You can't take Birmingham with you. Sorry. You can't take the land with you. That doesn't work. So that's another physical characteristic of real estate. Heterogeneity. Every property is unique. No two parcels are alike, and we will discuss this when we get into legal descriptions. Economic characteristics affecting value. Now, I need you guys to know this here for the exam. I want you guys to write down DUST, D-U-S-T, DUST, in this area here, because it's going to help you remember these 4 things. Desirability, scarcity, utility, transferability. I know it's not in order of DUST, I get it, but it's okay. D-U-S-T is the point here. Now, we're going to look at economic characteristics of that affect value. Desirability, if you have a 4-bedroom, 3-bathroom condo on the water, and you're getting tons and tons of phone calls on this condo, what do you think you're going to do to the price if everybody wants it? You're going to raise that puppy up. Desirability, like supply and demand. When it's in demand, believe me, the price is going up. Scarcity. Well, the opposite, actually. So let's say that you're a condo developer. You built 20 condos, and you're like, "Oh my God, I'm gonna sell these 20 condos. So I'm so sure about this," and you only sold 5. Oh my God! Now you're sitting on 15 condos, and you're getting desperate. It's been 3 months. You haven't sold any. Oh my God. Well, if you have a supply problem, you have too much of something, what do you think you're going to do to what do you think you're going to do to the price? You're going to bring it down. So supply, demand, utility. Utility means, you have a woman in a wheelchair and she's asking you to find her a house. What are you going to do? Are you going to go find a quad level house for her to move into where she has to take 5 steps just to get to the kitchen? Are you crazy? No. Or are you going to go get a nice ranch with a ramp, wide doorways? Yeah, you're going to try to accommodate your buyer, of course. That's utility. That's the type of use that's most suitable for the buyer. And last but not least, transferability. This is the ease of transferring ownership from the seller to the buyer. In real estate, you're going to have some really easy deals, and then you're going to have some crazy deals that are going to drive you crazy, okay? I'll explain just a couple of quick stories here for you guys. Now, with transferability, one time I was helping a husband and wife, okay? This couple, they were looking for a house. I took them out one day. We looked at about 3 or 4 houses. She didn't like any of them. They both didn't like any of them. A couple days later, I took them out again, and they decided to build a new construction house, and I got a $7,500 commission. So I took them out twice. I took them out 2 times and got $7,500. It was one of the easiest deals I've ever done in my entire career. I love talking about it because I wish every deal was that easy. Then I've had deals where I was helping a buyer in Grand Blanc, and the guy wanted a house that was owned by a bank. God be with you if you ever deal with a bank. Anyway, so the bank, the house was being sold as is, which means it had a lot of problems with it. The bank knew it, and they didn't want to fix anything, so they wanted to sell it as is. So my guy went out, mind you, I took the guy out about, 3 or 4 different times. I had to drive an hour there and an hour back every time, mind you. He finally settled on a house. It was like the 15th house we saw. He finally settled on that one. On top of it, there was a problem with the well in the back. So we told the bank we didn't want the house unless the well got fixed. So we had to fix the well. I had to get a bunch of estimates for it. We had trouble getting the guy financing. He had a $30,000 tax lien on him. The whole deal took about 4 months, and it fell through. So 4 months of my effort, and I made $0. Okay? So you may have really good deals that are quick and easy, and you get money from barely trying, and then you're going to get other deals that are going to drive you crazy, and you're going to make nothing. But that's the nature of the beast, which is why I told you earlier, to be rich in this game, you need listings. Get as many listings as you can. Get as many SAMs. Get as many sellers as you possibly can. That way, you know, if my 4-month deal fell through, I wouldn't have cared because I was working on 3, 4, 5, 6 other deals at the same time. I didn't care, right? So that's the name of the game, everybody. Listings, listings, and more listings. And don't worry, we'll teach you how to get those listings later. Right now, let's focus on passing the exam. By the way, for the exam, I want you to know DUST here. I don't necessarily need you guys to know the definitions as much. You know, the definitions are important, sure, but like you should know the words: desirability, scarcity, utility, transferability. I want you to know those words because on the exam, A, B, C, and D are all going to be dust, all of them. Like one might be desirability, scarcity, utility, and title. Well, it's not title. That's the wrong one. Don't pick that one. So I want you to know the words here. Know the words. D-U-S-T, know what they are in case they ask you that. Okay. Next, we're going to discuss legal descriptions. Okay, legal descriptions. We're on page 7 at the bottom. Legal descriptions. All right. Now, legal descriptions, this basically gives your property an exact place on the planet. Like, for example, no 2 vehicles have the same VIN number. No 2 people have the same social security number. At least we hope not, right? No 2 people have the same thumbprint. No 2 properties have the same legal description. So every single property in the world, well, yeah, I mean, I don't know if they use legal descriptions in like Japan or whatever, but you know, let's just United States, whatever. Every single property has its own legal description that can pinpoint you anywhere on the map. So we're going to learn about 3 methods of legal description. 3 methods of legal description. Let's go ahead and cover that. First one we're going to talk about is something called meets and bounds. I want you to remember for the exam, everybody, that meets and bounds measures boundaries. Measures boundaries. So put a little note somewhere next to meets and bounds, and it measures boundaries. It's in the name, meets and bounds. See that? Meets and boundaries. So that's a way to remember it. It's in the name, meets and bounds. Please remember, everybody, that it measures boundaries. Okay, so I'm let's say I'm a buyer and I'm looking to buy some land. So I'm looking at this piece of land here. Has a street, has a nice river there, some water, creek, whatever. And the seller tells me that this property is going to be $750,000 at 75 acres. I have a friend of mine, he builds condos. He told me he's going to give me 500 grand just for this little piece here. And the house is worth 300 grand. So 500 plus 300, I'm already up on the deal. Shit, if I buy this right now, I'm up 50 grand. This is a no-brainer. But wait a second. I'm about to spend $750,000. I better be sure that I'm getting what this guy is telling me I'm getting. So if you are the type of person who's paranoid, if you are the type of person who's skeptical, congratulations. You're going to be very successful in real estate. Okay? If your spouse, okay, tells you that you are way too paranoid, tell them good. Good. That means I'm in the right profession. You should be paranoid. You should be skeptical. Because in real estate, you can only take what people say with a grain of salt. So here's what I decide to do. I say, you know what? I'll buy your property, but it's going to be contingent upon getting a survey. So the seller says, yeah, okay, sure, go ahead. So you say, okay. So you go get a surveyor. The surveyor, what they're going to do is they're going to come out and they're going to look at your legal description. They're going to start at something called a point of beginning. POB, point of beginning. In the book, you should be familiar with these things in case they ask you, where would you find a point of beginning? Well, I'd find that at, meets and bounds. So point of beginning, the point of beginning could be anything. I mean, it could be a rock, it could be a tree, it could be a rod, a metal rod. If you ever notice sometimes, if you just see like a random metal rod sticking in the ground, like in a very random location, don't move it, leave it alone. It's probably a point of beginning. Somebody put it there at some point to stand as a point of beginning, right? So you want to go ahead and don't touch those types of things. But the surveyor, by the way, this surveyor in real estate, you may see them driving down the road sometimes. Like you'll see like they have like a tripod looking thing. They wear a vest, like a yellow or orange vest. They're on the side of the road. They're looking inside of this thing. And you're like, what the heck are they doing? Well, yeah, they're a surveyor. They want to trace the land. They want to look at the boundaries of the land to see what it is you're buying. So this surveyor starts at a point of beginning, and she looks at your legal description, and she's going to start. And she says, okay, for starters, your land actually is over here. Who put this fence on the yard? I don't know. I guess the neighbor did. Okay, well, your neighbor is encroaching on your land. Technically, your neighbor should have put the fence back here. They're on your land. Oh, well, good thing you told me. Well, yeah, let's keep going. So when you do meets and bounds, the way it works, if you look at example D is in dog in the book. You see example. I want you to be familiar with that example for the exam. They might give you an example of a meets and bounds, and you have to know what they're using. So whenever we do meets and bounds, we talk like 1,400 feet southerly, or 1,000 feet easterly, westerly, or west, or just look at the example. You'll know what I'm talking about. But okay, so the point of beginning says 1,400 feet southerly. So you go 1,400 feet southerly, and what you're doing is you're putting monuments in the ground. Monuments, like it could be like a little stick, a little stake, a little metal rod, and they're literally tracing the boundaries. So monuments, you'll also find those in meets and bounds, right? Yeah, we're going to use monuments. You see that C as evidence of boundary. The surveyor establishes a monument, which is physical evidence of the property lines and corners. So they're going to put down monuments. Now it says go 1,000 feet easterly until you hit the silo. So you go 1,000 feet. And then it says go 800 feet northerly until you hit the high voltage signs. Not literally, right? Right? No. Okay, so you're here. And now you're like, okay, let me guess. 600 feet easterly, right? And she's like, excuse me? And you're like, yeah, 600 feet that way, right? She's like, no, actually, it's only 60 feet. Wait a minute. The seller told me that I was going to have this whole area over here, this whole parcel of land. My buddy said he was going to buy it from me. Yeah, well, I'm sorry. You don't own this land. This isn't yours. You only own this much. Oh, my God. Are you serious? Yeah, that's right. So after you go around the whole thing, you only have 62 acres, not 75 like you originally thought. Well, this doesn't seem like that good of a deal anymore, guys, right? If I'm not getting the 500,000, then this is a terrible deal for me. Good thing I did a survey, and good thing I had a legal description that told me in detail exactly the boundaries of my land. Moving on. We're on page 8, and we are looking at the lot block subdivision method. This is the second legal description method. The first legal description method was meets and bounds. That was, 1,800 feet southerly and 1,000 feet easterly. That was the first method. This method is a little different. If you've ever been curious about how a subdivision is created, you're about to learn. So how do we make a subdivision? What do we do? And why is this important when it comes to legal descriptions? Well, in order to build a subdivision, it all starts with a piece of land. All starts with a big piece of land. Now, first thing you're going to do is you're going to get an architect to look at this piece of land and determine how many lots can we get on this property. So your architect looks at it and says, you know what? We can fit 10 lots on here. Okay, step one, complete. Step two, well, now that I know how many lots I can get, I should probably build my road, okay? So what you're gonna do is you're gonna put your road in, and you're gonna put any utilities, such as water, sewer, electricity, gas, cable. You see these red dotted lines? All of these red dotted lines are utilities. They're all in the front of your house. You see, there's something called setback lines in real estate where you can build your house. If you drive down your tomorrow when you're driving in your neighborhood, I want you to notice how all the houses are back like the exact same amount. The reason why the city puts these setback lines is so they can leave room. They can leave room for utilities. So this is where the water line goes, sewer, electricity, cable, gas. Right here in the front of your house, you'll see utilities. Okay, so I built my road. I have the utilities. Now what? Well, now you are going to get what's called a plat map. Basically, it's like a blueprint. And you're going to take that plat map and you're going to take it to the Register of Deeds and you're going to record this subdivision. So the lady at the Register of Deeds, by the way, Register of Deeds, you know, how many counties do we have in Michigan? We have like 83, I believe. So that means there's 83 Register of Deeds. Every county has their own Register of Deeds office. So, you know, you go to the Register of Deeds, they record things there. They record, you know, life, birth certificates, death certificates, deeds, mortgages, liens. You go there and you say, okay, I want to record a subdivision. So she says, okay, what do you want to call your subdivision? Let's say we're in Wayne County, Michigan. You say, I would like to call my subdivision Green Valley Estates. So she goes and types in, and she says, oh, you know what? That's taken. Sorry. Oh, man. Okay, I want to name my subdivision Maplewood Estates. And she looks and she says, okay, it's available. Congratulations. You are Maplewood Estates of Wayne County, Michigan. Now, let's say you wanted to buy lot 4. Well, then your legal description would be something like lot 4 of Maplewood Estates, Wayne County, Michigan. You see how nobody else can have a Maplewood Estates of Wayne County? I mean, you might see a Maplewood Estates in Oakland County. You may see a Maplewood Estates in Macomb County, but every county is only allowed one subdivision with that name. Therefore, it's impossible for you to have the same legal description anywhere else in the nation. So that's why, so that's how this legal description method is very important, because nobody else can have your legal description. So that's how we build a subdivision, and that's how we use this method for legal descriptions. There's one more too that we need to know about. The Government Rectangular Survey System. You know, this one can get a little confusing, but I will do my best to explain this to you as best as I can. We're kind of like bottom of page 8 going into 9 right now. Probably a good idea to get familiar with the like the vocab. Okay, a lot of the exam, guys, is vocab. If you know your vocabulary, you're in good shape. You know, I have some students, what they do is they'll make their own flashcards. I have other students who will just go to the glossary in the back of the book. But I do have here, let me pull this up here. What we have here at the school, guys, we have flashcards already. Comes with 500 of them. Let me put it in the chat here if you guys are interested. we have flashcards. I recommend you get these and follow along. Like while we're studying, it's a good idea to get familiar with vocab, because I would say like 20 to 30% of the exam is like vocab, just like, what does this mean? What does that mean? What does this mean? So it's a good idea to get the flashcards, so that way you're following along with us throughout these sessions that we're going to be doing, and you know, you're really good with the vocab. So if you take a look at the right there, there's a button. Click the button if you guys want to get the flashcards. But yeah, rectangular survey system here. This one can get a little confusing, so let's kind of take it slow here. Now, basically what we're going to be doing, imagine that you're a giant, okay, and you're looking at the state of Michigan, and you're cutting up the state of Michigan into little rectangles. That's basically what we're about to do. We're going to take the state of Michigan, and we're going to slice and dice it into little rectangles. Let's do it. The first slice is the baseline. I don't know if any of you have been near 8 Mile and have seen a big sign that says baseline. Well, yeah, baseline, that's what it means. It means under the rectangular survey system, the baseline runs east and west. It coincides with 8 Mile Road. Next time you're driving around 8 Mile, I want you to pay attention. You'll see baseline. So this baseline runs east and west, coincides with 8 Mile Road. This is the first split. I want you to imagine like Michigan, right? Like imagine the state here. Okay, we got the glove, the mitten, and we're slicing it. Boom, we just sliced it in half, baseline. And now let's slice it again the other way, north and south. This one we call the meridian. It runs north and south, and it coincides with, it starts at the Sault Ste. Marie, way up at the Upper Peninsula. This is the next slice. We sliced the state. So we sliced it this way, we sliced it this way, we got a baseline here, we got a meridian line there. Now what we're going to do, every 6 miles parallel to the meridian line. Now parallel means in the same direction. So you see north-south. Parallel means this way. We're going to go in the same direction. So picture we go 6 miles this way and we draw something called a range line. And then we go 6 miles this way, range, 6 miles, range, 6 miles, range. And then this side, too, the left side, we go 6 miles this way, range, 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 range. It looks like this. We are drawing range lines every 6 miles. Now, on the exam, guys, you don't have to do this on the exam. Like, you don't have to, they're not going to tell you draw range lines or draw meridian lines. You don't have to draw anything. You know, but they may ask you like, where would you find meridian lines? Or, you know, where would you find base lines, meridian lines, township lines, you know, where would you find this stuff? So again, vocab, that's why I put the vocab button in the chat. You should get the flashcards, guys, so you're familiar with vocab. You need to be good at this. Where would you find meridian lines? Where would you find baselines? The answer is rectangular survey system. But either way, you're going to slice the state up even more parallel to the meridian line, which is like the bolded line. You have range lines. How do I remember range lines, Kevin? Well, you have a range in your kitchen, don't you? Like an oven, you know, like the oven where the fire is, right? The range, the fire goes up and down on your range. So the fire goes up and down. You could think of it that way. On your range, up and down, north, south. I don't know. You can come up with whatever you want. Maybe you're at a golf range, and when you hit the ball goes up, down, north, south. Okay, you remember it however you want. Golf range or this, whatever. Okay. Then we do the same thing, except we do it parallel to the baseline. So 6 miles this way, we draw a township line. 6 miles township, 6 miles township line, township line, township line. It looks like this. So we have now made little squares. I know they call it the rectangular survey system. They should probably call it the square survey system, but whatever, it is what it is. And what we did here, guys, by making our slices is we created a bunch of townships. So that's what a township is. A township is 6 miles by 6 miles in shape. 6 miles by 6 miles creates a township. That's what it is. That is a township. Okay. Now, we're not done yet. We need to actually zoom in a little bit because remember, we're talking about legal descriptions here. Your legal description can't be a township. I mean, it could, but like, come on. Whose house? You say, hey, where do you live? And you're like, oh, I live in this township. Like, oh, you live in the township? No, I own the township. Nobody owns townships, okay? So let's get a little deeper here and figure out how this legal description is gonna be determined. So let's take this township and zoom in. Ready? We're gonna zoom in. 3, 2, 1, zoom in. Now, this township here has 36 sections, as you can see here, 36 sections. If you go to, well, I'll tell you in a minute. Section, yeah. Okay, fine. Every township has 36 sections. Why 36 sections? Because we did 6 miles by 6 miles. 6 by 6 is 36 times 6 is 36. There's 36 sections. Let me make this white so we could see it better. Here's what I want you to know, though. I need you guys to know these last 3 here. I need you to know that a section, each one of these sections has 640 acres inside of it. Think about that. 640 acres is a lot. That's a lot of land, okay? And then 1 acre is 43,560. A mile is 5,280. You know, the mile thing, to be honest with you guys, I'm not hearing about it too much. So focus more on 640 and 43,560, especially 43,560. That comes into play on the exam for sure. So please, please, please make sure you know 43,560 for the exam. How do I remember 43,560, Kevin? I don't know how to remember it. Well, I'll tell you what. 4 plus 3 is 7. 5 plus 6 is 11. 7, 11. Go get a Slurpee. There you go. Boom. I just remembered it. Or another way to remember it, you can switch the 3 and the 4 here, and it would be 3, 4, 5, 6. That's a cool way to remember it too. But the problem is that if you memorize 3, 4, 5, 6, you're going to get the question wrong on the exam because you're going to think an acre is 34,560 square feet, which it's not. So if you forget to switch it, you may be in trouble. So remember this however you want. Use my funny 7-Eleven trick or use 3, 4, 5, 6. But just please remember for the exam. All right. So yeah, we're looking at one township right now. Now, most of us, you know, don't live in a section. Like, hey, Kevin, where's your house? I want to come visit you. And I'm like, yeah, come to section 15. I'm in this township. I own the whole section. Okay, no. Most of us don't live in an entire 640 acre, you know, place. So let's talk more realistically here about what it is. You know, I'm going to take a random section. Let's take 28. All right. I'm going to zoom in. Now we're looking at section 28 here. I know this looks kind of crazy, so just bear with me. This entire thing is 640 acres. This whole thing. That's a lot. Most of us don't live on 640 acres. So let me tell you where you live here. You can split this up into 4 parts. 160, 160, 160, 160. You could even take a section and split up this part 80, 80. You could split it up 40, 40, 40, 40. Or you could even take a little piece and go 10, 10, 10, 10. Let's say I lived on 10 acres. My legal description would be that I live in the northeast quarter of the southeast quarter of the southeast quarter of section 28. Now tell me, can anybody else in the nation live in the northeast quarter of the southeast quarter, the southeast quarter of section 28 of Wayne County? You know, there's no way. Legal descriptions are so unique that nobody else could have the same legal description as you. So that is the third method of legal description. So we had meets and bounds with the boundaries, the point of beginning, the monuments. Then we had the lot block subdivision method, I live on lot 4 of Maplewood Estates, Wayne County, Michigan. And then the last one is this one. I live in the northeast quarter, the southeast quarter of section 28, like that. So those are the 3 ways, the 3 methods of legal description. Okay. Now, we're going to move on here. But for the exam, like I said, I want you to know 43,560 for sure. I want you to know some of the vocab here, guys, like baseline, meridian line, range line, township line. Make sure you understand that you find that in the government rectangular system. And then for meets and bounds, I want you to know that it measures boundaries. And I also want you to be familiar with that example I told you about. Just the way they talk. They may give you a mini paragraph, like a sample paragraph, and say, what is this? Well, just by the fact that you're using southerly and northerly and easterly, I could probably tell you it's meets and bounds. So that's why I told you to be familiar with that example. So other than that, that's pretty much the gist of it there. Let's see what we have coming up here. All right, let's see if you can figure this one out by yourself, guys. Go ahead and give this a shot. How many acres are there in the south half of the northwest quarter of the southeast quarter of section 22? All right, I was kidding. I'm joking. I'm just joking, guys, okay? Let me let me help you out here, okay? Look, if you have a question like this on the exam, the way you solve it is by working backwards. Work backwards. So slice this up into pieces. Here's the question. I put it, slice it up into some pieces. Start backwards. How many acres are there in a section? Go ahead and tell me in the chat. Do you remember? Do you remember? How many acres are in a section? Who's going to get this right? Aha! Yes! 640 acres. I like it, guys. I like it. You're paying attention. So you put 640 here. And then look, its neighbor is telling you what to do. You see this little 4 here? See this baby 4 here, little 4? Hey, 640, divide me by 4. 640 divided by little 4 here is 160. Then you take 160, look at the neighbor. Hey, 160, divide by 4. It's telling you what to do here. Divide by 4, 40. And hey, 40, divide me by 2. The answer is 20. 20. And you have to say it like that or it doesn't count. 20. Okay. Now let's do a new one. How many acres are there in the southwest quarter of the northwest quarter of the southeast quarter of section 22? Well, you start backwards. Put 640 right there. And then you divide by 4. And then you divide by 4. Then you divide by 4. The answer is 10. Look how easy that is. Little by little. That's how we're going to do it. How about this one? How many acres are there in the southwest quarter of the southwest quarter of the southwest quarter of section 37? You think you got it? Are you sure? Well, guess what? There is no section 37. No, that was a trick. That was a trick. There is no section 37. Only 36, only 36 sections. And no, don't worry. They're not going to do that to you on the exam, all right? Don't worry about it. The answer, so 640 divided by 4, 160. 160 divided by 4 is 40. And 40 divided by 4 is 10. Look at that. Beautiful. The answer is 10 acres. Again, don't worry. They're not going to do that to you on the exam, I promise. So let's look at this here as well. Now, look, on the exam, they are not going to give you pictures like this. I just put this here, but if you get a question like this, how many acres are there in a parcel of land 272 by 800? You're going to have a scrap piece of paper on the exam. You get one scrap paper front and back, so write small. You probably won't even need to use more than half of one page for the whole exam, I promise you. But if you get this question, how many acres are there in a parcel of land? Here's how you solve it. First thing you have to do is multiply. Multiply one side by the other side. Length times width. So 272 times 800. It's going to give you a big number, a huge number. Are we done after you do that? No, we're not done yet. Why? Because you have to divide by what? You have to divide by something so you know how many acres there are. Well, how many square feet are in an acre? Oh, do we want a Slurpee? What do we want? Okay, well, look, I told you. 1 acre has 43,560 square feet. So first you multiply 272 times 800, you're going to get a big number. Then you divide by 43,560. The answer is 4.995, or just 5 acres. On the exam, guys, it's not going to be crazy. They're not going to be like A, 4.995, B, 4.996, C, 4.997. It's never going to be that crazy. They're never going to give you numbers like that. They'll just have 5, and you just pick 5 and you're done. That's it. Simple as that. Now, I think this one's a little easy. So this is more likely what they're going to do to you. They're going to make you do half acres. So if I asked you the same question, except this time I asked you how many half acres there were, what would you tell me? Half acres. Half acres. What do you think? Well, look. Some of you may think it's 10. Some of you may think it's 2.5. If you pick 10, you pick the right answer. If you pick 2.5, what you probably did is you took 5 and you divided it by 2 because you're thinking half. Well, actually, that's not right. What would happen? Imagine if I took 5 acres and sliced it all in half, all 5 acres. Let me rephrase that. What if I took 1 acre and then put another acre on top of it and put another acre on top of it and on top of it and on top of it, and I sliced that in half? Aren't I going to get more pieces? Aren't I going to get more? Look, if you get half acres on the exam, just do me a favor and multiply by 2. Find out how many full acres there are and just hit times 2, and that's going to be the answer. So just because it says half, that doesn't mean you should divide 5 by 2. Don't do that. So make a little note for yourself to multiply by 2 if that's what happens on the exam. Great. Now, we're not going to do the practice questions tonight because I'd like to just get through this material. Well, you know what? I feel like we've been going for a little while now, so let's do this, guys. On page 11, there are some practice questions. The answers are right underneath them, so be careful. Don't look at the answers. Let's take a little bit of a break right here. Go ahead, try to answer as many review questions as you can by yourself, and then we're going to continue on. So let's take like a 5 or 10 minute break here. Try to work on the review questions, and then we will continue on from there. All right. All right, everybody, we are back from break, and we're almost done too tonight. So we're going to cover just a few other things, and then we're all just going to kind of break until we see you on Wednesday. Now, keep in mind, the book gets updated pretty frequently, and you might, whenever I tell you like page 5, page 6, I may say page 6, and you may be on page 5 or something. We may be 1 or 2 pages within one another, or some of you may have books that are really off. Like, oh, I'm like 20 pages behind. If you have a book that's pretty old, I want you to keep in mind these are newer books. The one with the blue cover on it. Here, let me put the book back into the chat real quick so you could look at it again one more time. If you don't have this book here, look to the right. You'll see I just put a link. If you don't have that book, I want you to get that book, save it, click on it, make sure you save it somewhere, because that's the book I'm going to be following for the class, and that's the one I want you to follow along with. If you have a very old book, you may want to call the office and see what you could do about getting an updated book. You may have to pay for it. I mean, if you have a very old book. Because we have newer books, so we want you guys to be on track with what we're learning about, okay? Now, for those of you that have a good book and you're still ready to rock, I hope you went through some of those review questions. If you didn't finish the review questions, I want you to do them, do them like tonight, tomorrow when you can. The answers are right there in the book for you to reference. Otherwise, let's go to page 12 where we talk about measuring property. We learned something called gross living area. Gross living area. Just real quick about the book thing. You do get a book with this class. Everybody gets the PDF. I already put it in the chat. You should be getting there. So yeah, you should be able to get the book included with the class. And you could always call the office and talk to them about it as well. Okay. Now, we talk about gross living area here. Now, how do we measure a house? That's basically what I'm asking. How do we measure a house? So if we need to measure a house, do we measure the kitchen, and then we measure the living room, and then we measure the laundry room, and then we measure this, and then we add it all up together? And no. That's not how we measure a house. We measure a house by its external dimensions. If you want to measure this house, you walk 40 feet one side, 30 feet the other side, and boom, you say the house is 1,200 square feet. That's it. It's as easy as that. 1,200 square feet. So when you walk into a home, they say that when you walk into a home or a property, you're on grade level. Grade, like I got a good grade on a test, yeah? Grade level. The first floor of a property is the grade level. If you are in the basement, you are below grade. If you are upstairs, you are above grade. So if this house that you're in has an upstairs, if this house has an upstairs, you would just double the 1,200 square feet. So you would just say, yeah, this house is 2,400 square feet. If it's a ranch, it's 1,200. What if it has an upstairs and a downstairs? Well, the downstairs doesn't count. The downstairs is below grade, therefore it doesn't count. Well, wait a second. What if I have a walkout? Doesn't matter. What if I have an ingress and egress window? Doesn't matter. Well, Kevin, what the heck? I just remodeled my basement and I have a pool table. I got movie chairs. I have a popcorn machine, and you're telling me this doesn't improve my square footage? No, I'm sorry to tell you, it doesn't. It does not improve your square footage. Now, what it does do is it improves your value. When you remodeled your basement, you pulled a permit, right? Of course you did. Everybody pulls permits. Yeah, so the assessor comes out to your house, looks at it, says, okay, this is nice. And, he or she will, increase the value of your house, which means you have to pay more tax, which is why a lot of people don't pull permits. But yeah, I mean, you're supposed to pull a permit. You're going to pay more tax. But you know what? When you sell your house, you can increase the value of your house because you have a finished basement. But as far as square footage, no, you cannot increase square footage. You just measure the outside of the house, and that is it. That's how we do it, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. Yeah. By the way, if you guys ever have trouble hearing me, sometimes like if you see the slides moving but you can't hear me, you always just want to like leave and come back, or maybe restart your computer, do some stuff like that. And just keep in mind, everything is recorded. So you will receive a recording and you will be able to kind of go through and figure out what it is you missed. Okay. Now we will discuss maybe just another thing or two, and then we'll dismiss. So we talk about mineral, air, and water rights real quick. Water rights. When you live next to water, you are said to enjoy water rights. When you live next to water, you have water rights. So you could say that if you live next to a river, a stream, or an inland lake, you could say that you have riparian rights. You live next to a river, so you're on, like a small lake, like Orchard Lake, or you live off the Flint River, God forbid. You could say I have riparian rights. This is on the exam. The riparian rights thing is on the exam. This is another vocab question. They asked me on my broker's exam. They said water rights when you live next to a river, and I said riparian, and I laughed and I got it right because I know my vocab. Okay, here, let me load this up again. The flashcard thing. Get the flashcards, guys. It's good. And then the next one is littoral. This is when you live on like a larger lake, or you live off an ocean, or like a navigable river where there's ships and stuff that go through. You would have littoral rights. So the way I want you to remember this is R standing for river, riparian, R river, and L standing for lake, big lake. Riparian, littoral. Riparian, littoral. River, riparian. Lake, littoral. You should know it, especially riparian. You may see it on the exam. Can you guys hear me okay? Just want to make sure I'm coming through here. Let's see here. Before I continue, I just want to make sure you guys can hear me. All right, yeah, good. So some people are hearing me. Okay, great. Let's see here. Remember, if you can't hear me, please restart. Please restart. Recordings will be sent out. Okay, just want to make sure. Great, thanks guys. Now, let's see, we're almost done here, but let's just do this real quick. Let's talk about littoral rights, like the lake, the navigable river, the ocean. Pretend your house is up here. You live on the water, and here's the land under. All right, the land under. Okay, so look what happens here. You have the water pushing against the land under the water. Over time, it's going to push, and then boom, it becomes eroded. So you have erosion. Now, what happens to that land that was here? The land is going to go over here now, and it's going to start building up, which is accretion. The land builds up, it is accretion. And then sometimes there are people who live like on a small lake, and the water goes away permanently. I'm sure some of you have heard this, when the water disappears. It's called reliction. And some people may say, oh, I have more land. Well, yeah, it's not that nice looking. It's actually kind of ugly. It's muddy, it's gross. I mean, there's like a shoe, there's a tire, there's a body. It's just not nice to look at, it's really ugly. So I want you guys to remember ear, like the ear on your head. E-A-R, erosion, accretion, reliction. E-A-R. Again, that is another vocab on the exam, guys. They're going to ask you, like, actually, yeah, they'll say, where would you find erosion, accretion, reliction? Like where, it's littoral. You'll find it like in littoral rights, lake, something like that. Or they'll say all of the following are involved with littoral rights except. So A will be, erosion, B will be accretion, C will be reliction, D will be scarcity or something completely off. So that's good that you guys know that. And yeah, I think we'll stop with encumbrances for this session. Yeah, again, I know some of you were having sound problems, not a big issue. This is all going to be recorded. We will send this off to you. Just give us a little bit of time to send the recording off to you guys, but you should expect it soon. Otherwise, I think we had a good session, and next time we meet up, we're going to get into encumbrances. But for the meantime, if you guys just want to kind of review what we went over tonight, that would be really helpful. And then next session, we're going to dive into it, and we're going to continue on with the book. My name is Kevin George. It's been my pleasure to teach you today, and I look forward to seeing you guys in our next session. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to sign off, everybody. Hope you have, good night, good day, and that's about it. All right. We will see you next time.